Welcome to Stress Release Yoga. I'm Christy. Let's take a nice deep breath. So I had lunch with a friend yesterday who I haven't seen in a really long time. And she was talking about how stressed out she is at work. So I'm going to encourage you today to take note of the poses, how they feel in your body, and what feels really beneficial for you that you could use as just a single pose or maybe a combination of poses during your work day. To just get up from your chair and do a pose or two to release some of that physical tension out of the body. And because our minds and our bodies, we're all inside this one shell, there really is a connection between our minds and our bodies. Releasing out that physical tension is going to help with the mental stress that we experience, and vice versa. So finding a pose also like a balancing pose. Something as simple as a tree pose. Maybe you're going to hold on to your chair or your desk, as long as it's not a rolling chair that's going to move around from you. You can use that to work on balance because that really makes your mind focus. Alright, just let your chin drop down towards your chest. So we're going to look for those poses that help pull our minds, so take some mental focus. They're going to pull our minds away from our work, our stressed out thoughts. And we're going to look for the poses that release some tension out of the physical body as well. All right, let your head come back up. Another breath. Let's let the head lean to the right. Just tilt it. Be really mindful of your neck. And then bring the head back to center. Tilt it over to the left. And then back to center. Big breath. Neck and shoulders get really tense from all of our computer work that we're doing. The neck you always want to be super careful with because it's so easy to overdo it. Focus really more on your shoulders, your legs, and your back to help reduce that neck pain. All right, take a moment to think about something that you're grateful for. Let there be a little bit of happiness flowing in with each breath. Let your eyes relax. Let's just start to count the breath. So one of the super simplest ways to focus your mind, just while you're even sitting in your chair. Maybe you're waiting for something to happen and you have a moment of stillness. So begin your count with an exhale. We're going to count an exhale and an inhale as one round of breath. So exhale it out. And just feel the movement of your body as you breathe. And each time you complete an exhale and an inhale, that's one round of breath. And if you lose count, you just go back to one. Try to let your shoulders drop down as you breathe. And be aware of how difficult or how easy that is for you. If it's hard just to be still, if you keep losing track, just notice it. We're not worried about, what really happens. We're just working on that observation of what's going on. All right, another big breath. Stay arms up overhead. Nice stretch up. Good. You can look up at the ceiling if your neck is okay there. And then bring hands down behind you. Interlace fingers together. Pull hands down towards the floor. Good. Alright, release those hands. Bring them on up. Grab hold of your right wrist. Bend gently to the left side. Trying to stretch out that right shoulder. Again, this can be done at your desk. We're going to come back through center. Grab hold of the left wrist. Bend to your right. So now we're stretching out the left side of the body. We're getting into that shoulder blade. Breath. And then back to center. Let your arms come down behind you again. Interlace those fingers together. Pull hands down towards the floor. If they'll lift up a little bit from the body, you're trying to lift them up towards the ceiling while your shoulder blades are still pulled down. And then release your hands. Good. Arms back up overhead. We're going to take it into a twist. Right hand reaches around behind you and drops down onto the floor. Left hand can rest on either leg. Breath. And then come on back to center. We're going to bring those arms up. And twist over to the left. Left hand drops down on the floor somewhere behind you. Lift up. Breathe. Just feel what's going on. And then come on back to center. Arms up. Hands together. And bring them on down. Take a breath. So right now, think about any of those poses that might feel good for you to do during the day. A little twist in your chair. If you have arms, you can grab hold of the arms of your chair, or maybe reach around and grab the back of your chair. You can twist that way. You can do arms up, right? Super easy. Not as easy to do hands behind you, seated in a chair, but maybe you're going to stand up and do that. You can bend to either side. So just keeping those little things in your mind. Here we go. We're going to stand up. We're going to stretch our legs. Come on into a wide leg standing forward fold. We're going to take those feet out wide and just fold in. Let your head come down. Breathe. If this is too far, or if this hurts, just back up, come up to standing, and just stand and lengthen up your spine. You can bend your knees if your legs are a little tight this morning. Yeah, I'm saying morning. It is morning still for me. For you, whatever time of day it is, your legs might be tight. So you can bend your knees. And then we'll try to do a twist here. I'm going to grab a block just to demo that. I'm going to grab a thicker block. Blocks are usually either 2 or 3 inches thick. And then, right, they've got a flat edge, they've got that long edge, and they've got a short edge. If you want to use a block, or you can stack up some books here too. If you're not quite reaching the floor comfortably, you can use a block to, let's do left hand, we'll twist to the right. Left hand flat on the floor on a block. So again, you can change the height of the block. What you want is for your back to be flat. You want this arm to be straight. So we're not sinking down and bending the arm. We want the arm to be straight. We're lifting up from the hand. All right, I'm going to drop it low. And then we're twisting to the right. Right arm comes up, not wrenching the shoulder. You could keep that right hand on your right hip if it feels like you're really pulling too hard on that shoulder. Just try to twist the body open to the right. Breath. Back through center. Right hand comes down. So your right hand's below the center of the chest. And then we're just twisting to the left side. Breathing. Feeling that twist. Good. And again, that left hand could come down hip or low back area. And then we're bringing it on back to center. Just fold in once again. So here we'll do that shoulder stretch again. Just like we did when we were seated, we're going to bring hands behind us. So you're bringing hands to your low back, interlace fingers, pull hands up away from the body. And then we're going to come back up to standing. Put my block to the side. Good. So any one of those can be a little midday stretch. Feet wide, folding forward. You could do the hand down, twisting to the side. You can do hands behind you, stretching up towards the ceiling. Let's step the feet in. And we're going to take a breath. Shake out your legs a little. Let's move the shoulders in circles. And then we'll take it into extended side angle. Getting a little into the hips here. Feet wide again. Right foot turns straight out to the right side. Left foot turns towards your right foot. Bend in your right knee. Hips down, abdomen in, spine up. Shoulder blades are down. We're going to bring arms up to about shoulder height. All right, my arm is being weird here, so I'm moving it around. We're going to let those shoulder blades drop down. So anything that you need to adjust, you're just going to change it. Then we're easing our way sideways. Could be your hand on your thigh. Could be your left hand on your left hip. Or we can try to lower down, bringing that right lower arm onto the leg. Left arm can reach up and overhead. If you're going lower, this is another place where a block can be nice, or a book. You can have it on the inside of your foot or on the outside of the foot. Still trying to rotate open away from the floor, trying to pull this left hip backward. And then we're going to come on up. Turn your right foot in. All right, my feet are very wide here. I'm going to step them back in and take a little shake and step the feet out wide again. Left foot turns out. Right foot follows. We're just taking our time. We're feeling our way through the pose. Bend in your left knee. Bring your arms up. So again, my one shoulder has really been tricky lately. And then we're going to lean it sideways. Hand or lower arm on the thigh. Turn the front of the body away from the floor. Right arm can reach up towards the ceiling or stretch out past your head. Breathe. Observe what you're feeling in this pose. This one is different than the forward fold because now you're stretching through the outer hip. This one's a little bit of a tricky one to do in the middle of the day if you don't have your yoga mat laid out. Teaching at home, I've been keeping my yoga mat just here in my living room so I can kind of hop on it anytime. All right, we're coming up. We're going to step feet together. Take a breath. I'm going to take a sip of water. And let's face forward. Let's do warrior one and humble warrior. Opening up the hips. Facing forward. Feet lined up. Step your left foot back. We got a fairly big step here. Bend in that right knee. We're letting that left leg turn out. We're looking forward. Arms come up, shoulder blades are down. We've got the abdomen and we're lengthening up. So observe how this feels for you. And then hands behind you. Interlace fingers together. Pull hands down towards the floor. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, fold forward into humble warrior. Again, observe what you're feeling here. You're strengthening your legs. You're opening up the hip flexors, releasing tension out of the shoulders and the back. For me, that's always a good one for the low back. All right, we're going to come back up into warrior one. Arms come up overhead. Hands together. Bring them on down to the heart. Take a breath. Let's see if we can do warrior three from here. So this gets a little trickier. I'm not usually terribly good at this one, but we're just going to give it a whirl. All right, hands at the heart. We're doing no hands overhead. And then we're going to fold forward, bringing the body onto the thigh. And then you're going to try to push forward and bring that back leg up. Arms can come out along your sides if you like, or you can do those arms forward. All right, that was not my worst one ever. Take a breath. And then if you're still there, step your feet together. And then we'll take it to the other side and see what happens. I don't remember if that's my better leg or my worst leg. I think that might be my better side. So we'll see what happens on this side. We're going to face forward, hands on hips, warrior one. Right foot steps back. Let your right foot turn out, bend in your left knee, tailbone down. So each step of the way, we're just visualizing, we're trying to feel the body in our minds. Visualizing where our back knee and foot are. Where's the front foot and knee? Arms come on up, shoulder blades are down. So front knee, you're trying to get it to point straight to the center of the foot. A lot of times it'll drift. I think in this pose it tends to drift inward. Some poses it'll tend to drift outward. All right, humble warrior. Hands down, behind you, interlace fingers. Pull the hands farther down towards the floor. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold forward. Keep breathing. So hands are trying to move up away from the body. If you need your hands at all, you're just going to let them release. So this one again, you're going to want to do it on your yoga mat so your feet aren't sliding. If you have some kind of, sometimes in the summer, like a kitchen floor or a hardwood floor, might be sticky enough that you can do that without your feet sliding. All right, come on back up. We're going to bring arms up overhead, coming back into warrior one. And then we're going to do hands together and fold forward for warrior three. Bring the body right onto the thigh. Use your back foot. No, that's not working on that side. You're going to use your back foot to step forward, to push forward. I'm going to use a block. I'm going to have my hands down here. And you're going to try to keep that leg up. And then you can do arms out to your sides. Evidently, I've not been paying enough attention to that leg. And when you're ready, your feet are going to come back together. Take a breath. Good. Here we go. Squat. You're going to take the feet a little bit wide, heels in towards each other, toes out. You can either bend forward all the way into a forward fold and then drop your hips down, or you can just try to lower down. Foot spacing can really vary here. Feet a little bit wide. So for me, with my feet wide, I've got the whole foot down. You want to pay attention to where you're feeling that. Are you feeling it in your ankles, in your feet, in your lower legs, in your back, your hips, inner leg? What's the sensation? And then if you change your feet. So if I bring my feet into touch, turn my toes out, my heels are touching each other, and then I drop down, now my heels are up, and I can balance on the toes. Even if your hands are down, from this position you can try to bring your heels up a bit to stretch your toes. Or you can work on balancing. Bringing your arms up, maybe to your heart or overhead. Focus on a single spot, and then to come up. You're either going to tip forward into a forward fold and then come up, or you're going to try to rise up, hands together, down to the heart. Big breath. Good. And then feet wide. Triangle pose. Here's where you could also use a block. If you like, you can place one near the outside of your right foot. Turn your right foot straight out to the right. Left foot follows. No balance today. Tailbone down, arms up. Reach out to your right side or just let that right hand slide down the leg. Right hand comes down. For me, I can't usually get far enough to a block. Maybe if I have it on the tall side, but that's still not a great place, or it's still a little too low for me. I'm better if my hand is right below my knee, and then I can really turn open from the floor, stacking this hip a little bit better on top of the bottom hip rather than having it turn forward. Breathe. But as we go into half moon, the block can be helpful. Or again, a book. So you can flatten that block out. You still might use two hands to get yourself into the position. I'm going to bring that left leg up into the air. Work on rotating the body out away from the floor again. Toes. Usually it's better if you pull the toes in towards your knee. Try and extend your heel out from your hip. And then if you're revolving, bring your left hand down. Keep that left leg up. Turn the front of the body down towards the floor. And rotate out to your right. All right, I'm having a terrible day here today. If you want to bring your toes down, I'm thinking I'm going to have my toes down. You can have those left toes down and still work on that rotation, so you're stretching the outer leg. And then we're going to come back to center. Feet together. Take a breath in, forward fold. Let your head drop down. And then we're going to come on up. So if you have one block, you can bring it with you over to the left side. We're going to take a breath. Take the feet out wide. And just get yourself set up. Even though none of my poses are going that well, they're still making me feel better, which is the whole point. So just notice, how are you feeling? Like, I feel like my back and my shoulders are better, my legs are better here. I can feel the difference between the right leg and the left leg, since we haven't done triangle and half moon this left leg. So think about which poses might be nice in the middle of the day. Left foot out to the left, right foot follows. Again, how are you going to get into triangle here? We're going to ease your way in. Some days I do, some days I don't. If it's a good day, arms up, reach out. Then you're just letting that hand drop down. Rotating the front of the body away from the floor. Right arm reaches up. Unless you're having trouble there, then the hand can be down. Keep breathing. Notice what you're feeling. So I have found, particularly in the past year, triangle to be super helpful in the hips. Not necessarily easy, but helpful. All right, we're going to turn down towards the floor, coming into half moon. Bend in your left knee. Right foot's going to step forward and lift up. Left hand or both hands can be down here. We're going to work on that rotation out away from the floor. See if you can pull your right toes, the raised toes, in towards your knee. Extending the heel out from the hip. Breathing. And then if you're revolving, right hand comes down. Front of the body turns down towards the floor. So I'm already getting a lot of intensity on this outer left leg. I'm just going to keep both hands down. And even if I step my toes down, I'm still getting that deep stretch in the outer left leg. I can feel it all the way from my hip down into my foot. And then you can just bring your feet together. And come back up to standing. Circle shoulders. Take a breath. All right, we're going to do a balancing pose. One more balancing pose. You want to do the challenging one that I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do today, but I'm going to show it to you anyway, for those of you who feel like you can do it. As always, if you're going to do just a nice, straightforward balancing pose, tree pose, you might still want something to support you, like a chair or a wall. You can just bring one foot up. If you're going to do balancing pigeon, so this is one that I think is a good quick hit pose. You're going to sit down like you're sitting in a chair. Bring your right ankle on top of your left thigh. You're going to work on folding forward. Hands can stay on your hips, they can be on your legs, or they can be at your heart. You're balancing, so you're going to refocus your mind, because it's going to take some effort mentally to stay here. And you're getting, so it's a balancing pigeon, so you're getting again that outer leg and hip just like a pigeon pose. Now you can also just actually do seated. Just bringing your right ankle on top of your left thigh and a little forward leaning. Let's do other side. Left, again, if you're doing tree, foot might be low or high. Otherwise, you're going to sit down, left ankle on top of your right thigh. Hands can be at the heart. We're again sitting down and folding forward. Oinks. Maybe spinning a little in your pose. And then if you're ready, we're going to let it go. Shake it out. And then we'll do a pyramid pose, back of legs. Working a lot on legs today, because even though while we're sitting, a lot of what we feel is in our shoulders and in our backs. By working there's really a lot of stiffness that's happening in the legs too. So by working on the legs, we're kind of working our way up the body, helping support our backs and our shoulders. Okay, feet lined up. Left foot steps back, we're folding over the right leg. Hands on hips or behind you. We're going to fold in. This is another place where if hands will reach, you can bring your hands down to the floor or to blocks or books. You can lift up a bit and lengthen out your spine and fold back in. If you're able to walk your hands to the right side, walk your hands over towards that long side of the mat. And then bring them on back to center. Step your left foot forward. Let's just bring the head up. We're going to come on up to standing. Arms reach up overhead. Here too, you can do that little side bend. You can grab hold of your right wrist, bend to the left. You can hold your left wrist, bend to the right. Back to center, hands come back to your hips. Step your right foot back. We're going to lengthen up the spine, hands on hips or behind you, or let them come down to the floor. Again, you can lift up a bit, lengthen out the spine, fold back in, let your head drop down. And then this time we're going to step backward. Bend in your left knee. Place your hands towards the front of the mat. Walk both feet back. Come back into a downward facing dog. And then if you're going to do a vinyasa, come on into plank. Make sure you've got control. Lower down carefully. All right, my feet are just sliding on this mat, so that worked well. I'm going to let my legs lengthen out behind me. Then you're going to have your hands flat on the floor. Pull your shoulder blades in towards the spine and down towards your hips, and then press into your hands. So you've got those shoulder blades already pulling backward before you even start to lift up. Coming into a cobra. And then push backward into child's pose. Child's pose is another good one to do during the day. You don't need a mat for it. A blanket can be nice, just to have something maybe a little bit cleaner than my carpet is. You can use, because child's pose, you're gonna work, you are gonna get a bit into the quads and into the hips, into your back and your shoulders, and makes you kind of slow down your breathing. It makes you focus on your breath. Because you've got your head somewhat encapsulated, it's a little more difficult to breathe in child's pose than when your head is up. Big breath. Now we're going to take it into, let's do a lunge and then we'll do pigeon. We're bringing the right foot forward. Lengthening out that left leg. Try to get that left leg nice and long. And then push, so both hands on the inside of the right foot, so that both arms are on the inside of that right leg. Keep your right hand down, bring your left arm up, twisting open to the left. And then bring your left hand down and twist open to your right. Come back to center. One more breath. Shift your hips back. Hands can walk farther to the left to bring that right leg back. Stretch that right leg out. Bring left foot forward. Work on lengthening out your right leg. Breathing. This is another really good one during the day to keep your hips from tightening up so much over time. And this one too, you don't need a sticky mat for. Alright, so we're going to have the right hand down on the inside of the foot. Left hand down. We're going to twist open to the right. Bring your right arm up. And just notice, that really changes what I'm feeling in that back leg. Just notice if it does for you too. Now we're twisting to the other side. Right hand down, left arm's going to come up, twist open to your left. And then back to center. Take another breath. And then you can shift your hips back, maybe walk hands a little bit more to the right. Swing your left leg back, stretch your left leg out. Take a breath. Come back into child's pose or just sit for a moment. Let's check where we are time-wise. This videos always end up being so much longer than I intend them to be, because there's so much work that needs to happen to get our stress out. All right, another breath. Pigeon or reclining pigeon. So if it hurts your knees, it's super intense, we already did a whole lot in the outer legs, maybe you just want to do gentler. If you're doing pigeon, and then I'll show you the other, in case you might not or remember. Pigeon, your right knee's coming forward and out to the right. Your right foot's to the left side of your mat. Left leg walks back. We're going to do reclining deer pose still, but if you want to get a little quad stretch in here, if you can get to that back foot, you can pull it in. Sometimes for people it works better to reach with the opposite. If you're feeling like it's a balancing challenge, reaching back with your right hand for your left foot will sometimes just keep you a little more balanced in that pose. If you're going to do reclining, you're on your back. Right ankle rests on top of left thigh. So this is just like that balancing pigeon we did. You're going to pull that leg in, soften your shoulders, left leg in, breathe. And then we'll change sides. You can stretch out first if you like. If you're in reclining pigeon, maybe just straighten both legs out, bounce your knees. Big breath. And then changing sides. So if you're doing reclining, or if you're doing regular pigeon, left knee forward and to the left, reclining, left ankle on top of your right thigh. And now I don't remember if I put my phone on silent. I'm gonna check that while you guys breathe away too. Good job. All right. So we're winding down now. We're really using our breath to just get into that slightly softer state. And then just gently release this side. You can stretch again. If you're in pigeon, slowly make your way to your back. And then once you're on your back, we'll do reclining deer pose. We did those standing wide leg folds, which tend to get into your inner leg. Maybe we should do one more inner leg stretch. We did a lot of outer leg, we did a lot of back of leg. Okay, so we're gonna do reclining deer so that we get into the tops of the thighs, and then we'll do one more inner leg stretch. Feet wide on the mat, like towards the edges of the mat usually. It's pretty good for me to just have my feet resting right at the edge of the mat. We're gonna take the knees to the right. So you just have a space between, so now my knees are separated. They're not stacked. We're letting the inner left leg drop down towards the floor. We're focusing on the left leg. If you have a different place you want to put your right leg, just move that leg. I will sometimes do it with the foot on the floor and just letting, one knee up, the other leg leaning in. So it's this act of letting that inner leg drop down with the knee bent. We're starting to focus on top of the thigh. You can move that left leg. You can walk it farther out to your left. You can pull that left hip up, foot up close to your hip. Observing how it shifts the pose a bit and how it shifts what you're feeling. This one for me is often a really good one for the back, for the low back issues. I think because it's easy to stretch the hamstrings, right? It's easy to do those forward folds. It's easy to blend them into the yoga practice. Stretching the quads is a little harder to get to and to blend in. So it's a good balance, good way to balance out the other poses. It's also just for me, being on the floor is a great de-stressor, great for the back for me. All right, we're gonna release this left leg and we're gonna bring it towards the right, extending the foot out. And then we're gonna bring the foot up towards the ceiling. Let your right foot come onto the floor. We're gonna hold this left leg, pulling it in. If you can get to your big toe, wrap your middle and your index fingers around the big toe. We're gonna let that left foot drop out to the left side, stretching the inner leg. If you're not reaching the foot, just hold on to the back of the leg and pull that foot out to the side. You can extend your right leg out if you like, along the floor. For me, I think it's working a little bit better to have that foot on the floor. Take a breath. And then we're going to release. We're going to stretch both legs out along the floor. Arms can come up overhead. Big breath. And then we'll bring both feet back up onto the floor. We're going to drop the knees. So again, space between the feet. We're going to drop knees to the left, working on the right leg. Right foot can move out. Right foot can come close to that right hip. Or if you need to back up a bit, bring that right knee towards your left foot or knee. Breathe. And then we'll walk this right foot towards the left foot. Just kick that right leg out to your left side, and then you're just kind of rolling back onto your back. You're bringing that right foot up towards the ceiling. You're coming onto the sole of the left foot. We're going to pull this right leg in, and then again, if you can get the toe, you're going to grab the big toe, drop that right foot out to the right side, or if you want to hold somewhere on the leg, hold on. If you want to try extending your left leg out along the floor, you can do that too. And then let's hug the knees in. So we're just gonna let go of that leg, bring both knees in, squeeze in. If you're doing happy baby, grab hold of your feet. If happy baby works well for you, this is another good quick hip pose, because you're getting into your hips, you're getting into your low back. For me, it also gets into my shoulders a bit. And if you do this rocking, if this works for you to rock from side to side, you're doing like a little bit of massage on your whole back. And you can even bring your head into it to stretch your neck a bit. Let the head turn to each side. All right, and now we're going to relax. Just a couple of minutes. We're going to be quiet. So make yourself comfortable. If you want something for your head, this could be another stretch. If you want to do a reclining cobbler's pose, you could do the soles of your feet together. Knees dropping out to the side. Here's where you could count those rounds of breath again if you like. Counting one exhale and one inhale as a full round of breath. Breathe all the way into your abdomen. Observe how you are. Move your fingers, wiggle your toes. You can move the feet and the hands around. Little movement in the wrists and the ankles. You can stretch your arms past your head. Bend your knees to one side. And make your way up into a seated position. If you're sitting with crossed legs, try to bring your bottom leg on top. Hands at the heart. How crazy is my hair now? All right, big breath. Thank you so much for being here and sharing in this virtual practice with me today. Namaste.